Hi, gang, it's Adam.
And Patrick.
We're back with a brand new episode, and today we're going to be chatting all about Patrick's first trip to Walt Disney World in over a year. Patrick, can you even?
I can't even.
As always, we cover the latest Disney news and close out the show with some quick D. All that and more on today's episode of Gaze Do the D.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Patrick Puddin' Face Kazuki.
Ooh, delicious and nutritious. Adam, keys to the kingdom, Hummel.
I've got them all. I've got all the keys. I've got a ring of keys, Patrick.
10 keys, even.
Oh, 10 keys, 10 rings.
Okay.
I don't know. Do we... I don't remember how to do this. Do we just talk to each other?
We could give that a try.
Oh, God, that sounds like a lot of work.
Well, that's the world of podcasting, Adam. It's a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, you're right. Speaking of heavy lifting, you did a lot of it while I was away, so thank you so much.
You know, it wasn't really any different to how we record now, where I do most of the work and you just sit there.
Oh, let's do that. I mean, let's just make that happen. Let's make this next journey of GDTD, this next phase where we have two offices now. I mean, we did have two offices before, but now we're like legitimately several hundred miles apart from each other. Right. So now we have GDTD West Coast, which is you.
That's right.
Because you're west of the Mississippi, and I'm east of the Mississippi. So this is GDTD East Coast.
That's right. We're basically bi-coastal, you know. It's more of an emotional divide, but we are divided.
Yeah, speaking of emotional, how are you doing since I left Minneapolis?
It's been nothing but gray clouds and rain.
You know, I was thinking that day when I pulled away in my car and I just saw your tiny frame hunched over crying on your little porch, Patrick. I thought, am I doing the right thing? Am I?
You aren't. You're not doing the right thing, Adam. I think you've made a horrible mistake, but nonetheless, here we are. Lots has happened since we've been recording together. It's been 3 whole weeks, in fact.
3 whole weeks, could be 3 whole years at this point. I don't remember how we do this. I don't really know, what. I mean, look at me already. I'm like, I don't even know how to talk to you.
Let's just give up, I think.
Okay. Perfect. But anyway, in short, first of all, thank you, Patrick. Thank you so much for steering the ship. You know, you steered this ship while I was away, and I appreciate it. And also, we need to thank the amazing guest co-hosts who were able to step in while I was away. We got to thank JT from the Disney Buzz podcast.
That's right. He was awesome. He was very knowledgeable about all things DuckTales. What a brain on that guy, you know?
He's got a brain. That one. And we also need to thank Kale from the Steamboat Willies on Instagram.
Thank you, Kale. Kale came in and talked all about The Emperor's New Groove. We had a great time, lots of laughs, a few tears. You know, it was a real roller coaster.
I love that. And we need to thank Allie, our Tweedle, who appeared on the last episode as our guest while we played Walt Disney. She was fabulous as well.
She was a gem. We had such a blast with her. I believe she now has her new Gaze Do the D mug for participating.
Yes, she has her mug. She won her mug fair and square. Congratulations, Allie. So thank you to all those wonderful people. And if you didn't have a chance to listen to those episodes yet, please go back and do so. That's episode, 134, 135, 136? Nope, it's 135, 136, 137.
I mean, take a few weeks off and you forget where we are, Adam.
I certainly did. So thanks again, gang. I am so grateful. And I know Patrick had a great time with our guest co-hosts. And Allie, we just adore you. And congratulations.
Congratulations, Allie. Yes, thank you, JT. Thank you, Kale. Adam, you're in a new house now.
I am in a new house. New to me. But this old gal was built in 1937, Patrick.
Ooh, just like you.
Okay. Is that really how you want to kick things off? With just an insult like that?
Were you born in that house when it was built?
I was thinking, wouldn't it have been funny if when we turned on Zoom, I just had an absolutely haunted look on my face, like I had seen things in this house already?
You moved into the murder house.
This is, in fact, where a family of 4 was killed, yes. No, things are great so far. It's been a lot of deep cleaning, Patrick. And if I may just put a PSA out there to all of our Tweedles, when's the last time you cleaned under your oven? Think about it.
When's the last time I used my oven?
You're going with more of like a Carrie Bradshaw method, just shoes in the oven?
That's right. I'm on a raw vegan only diet now.
Great. Okay. But yeah, so just cleaning here. We've had meetings with several contractors and painters and HVAC installers, people like that who are going to come in and rip our house apart before making it all beautiful and shiny again.
Sounds like a nightmare.
It's actually been fun. I mean, I'm new to this, so, I'm just living my HGTV fantasy right now.
You and Matthew are the property brothers now.
It's more of a Chip and Joanna relationship from Fixer Upper.
Fantastic. Are you the hearth or the hand in the relationship?
I mean, I'm versatile in Wisconsin.
That's what I hear.
I can be either in Wisconsin, Patrick. Patrick, how have you been since I've been away?
Just a joy, Adam. I have been just a joy. I got back from my trip to Disney World a few days ago, and I'll tell you what, I need to go back immediately.
Oh, that's a little teaser into our feature segment this week, Patrick. We can't wait to hear all about it, but the fact that you're chomping at the bit already to go back, I think that's a good sign.
Listen, I have some things to say.
Oh, here we go. We're going to get into it. Patrick's going to spill the tea. So stay tuned, folks.
Stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned for some tea spilt.
Speaking of tea, Patrick, we have a brand new Patreon member from across the pond.
I was wondering where you were going with that, but now I made the connection. Tea, the UK, a new Patreon member from the UK.
That's right. That's all they drink over there, tea, right?
It's the only thing they drink, absolutely. Tea, and they eat crumpets. What's a crumpet? I have no idea.
I don't know. A crumpet. I probably found one underneath my oven when I cleaned it, though.
Gross. But we do have to celebrate our new Patreon member, Juin.
That's right. Juin, welcome to the Patreon fam. We are so happy to have you join us. And this is just very, very recent, Patrick. He just started listening to the podcast, so we must have sold him on it already.
Yeah, Juin is all in. How you Juin?
Wendy Williams.
You know what I'm saying?
How about that? Yeah, in fact, I thought Juin might have already been a Patreon member, but maybe not. It's been a while. I don't know. He just joined?
It's possible. Maybe he quit and rejoined. Who can say?
Could be. Yeah, Juin, we are happy to have you on board. Patrick, talk about everything, just all of it, that everyone gets when they become a Patreon family member.
They get delightful, Adam, extra episodes of Gaze Do the D called Gaze Do the D Raw and Uncut.
Raw and uncut.
Oh, I missed that. Creepy whisper. It's been a minute since we've said that.
Do you know the weird thing is that I didn't even whisper it. It's the house, Patrick.
Your haunted house. They also get automatic entries into Patreon-only giveaways. They have no choice, Adam. We throw prizes at them without their knowledge.
And they could be sharp, they could be pointy, and you know what? We will not apologize if you get hurt because free merch.
That's right. You all signed the contract. Pain may be inflicted. Who can say?
Some people are into that, Patrick.
Some people are very into it. And if you are not already a Patreon member, I mean, what are you doing with your life? Here's how you can do it. You can head on over to gazetothed.com and click on that donate button. That'll take you over to our Patreon page where for Adam, as little as $1 reoccurring a month, you too can join the Patreon family just like Juin.
I wonder what that translates into pounds.
I don't know. He is supporting us in pounds. So I don't know what the conversion rate is because I can't be bothered, quite frankly.
I like to think that I've been supporting us in pounds for the entire run of this podcast.
I'm supporting quite a few pounds after my Disney trip, I'll tell you what.
Well, Jewin, we are so excited to have you on board as a Patreon family member, and good luck with all of those giveaways. We'll probably have one soon, I would imagine, right, Patrick? I don't know, yeah?
I imagine very soon, in fact. Very soon.
Very exciting. And also, very exciting, Patrick, we need to wish a happy reopening. Can you even believe it? To Disneyland Resort.
I am so thrilled that Disneyland is finally open and people are enjoying it. The great people of California are enjoying their home park.
One touch from Disney was not enough for them. They said, no, just a touch of Disney's not enough. We need to reopen the whole gosh darn thing. So Disneyland, DCA, it's all reopening. Maybe not all right away, right? I think some of the resorts are kind of trickling in behind a little bit, maybe. Do I remember correctly?
Yeah.
Maybe. Does that sound right, Patrick?
I just want you to keep that sentence going, though. I mean,
I'll do it. Yes, but so exciting for Disneyland Resort to be opening. And not far behind that, we know we've got that Avengers Campus opening.
Yeah, that's right. In basically a month from now.
What a way to celebrate Pride Month. Open up that Avengers Campus and let us just see those superheroes and their taut bodies.
That's right. That's pride to me. That is pride to me. Here's what I'm actually kind of hoping. I want them to keep Disneyland. This is going to be controversial. Come at me if you want to. Keep Disneyland only for Californians through the opening of Avengers Campus. So it's just a special treat for the citizens of California.
That's very thoughtful, Patrick.
Also, it'll just give Disneyland a nice little testing ground because it won't be full capacity. It'll be forgiving guests, right? Californians sort of understand what's going on, and I think it'll be a nice little treat and a test.
Patrick Kazuki, you are full-on Disney corporate, thinking all of these wonderful things. You've got it all figured out. Disney, hire this man immediately.
I do. I really do. I'm very wise. Very wise. So congratulations, Disneyland. You were sorely missed, and we hope to see you soon.
So soon. I can't wait to get back.
You know what else I can't wait to get back into, Adam? A movie theater.
I mean, can we just talk about movie theaters, Patrick? They have seats. You see movies in them. You can get some popped corn if you want.
Adam, you're full of knowledge today. Just coming at me with the knowledge. But I'm specifically talking about this September 3rd, Adam, 2021, Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings will appear only, apparently, in movie theaters.
Talk about a brave statement right there. Disney is committed. I'm putting that in quotes, Patrick, because we've heard it before. But yes, only in theaters on September 3rd, 2021. The teaser just came out last week. Patrick, give me all of your thoughts, every single last one of them.
So exciting. It looks epic. It looks like an amazing movie, a wonderful cast, a beautiful cast. The soundtrack I'm already in love with.
Yes to the soundtrack. You know what I love, Patrick? I love a movie, a Marvel movie specifically, that is steeped in a culture that we may not necessarily be super familiar with. And I'm saying we as like, Caucasian people, Patrick.
Okay.
And I like to kind of dig into that. But also, I love that China, known for its kind of mysticism, and I think this could really play into the story. It looks like it from the teaser anyway, that we're going to get some fun kind of mystical, magical elements to this movie as well.
Yeah, I frankly don't know quite what to expect. I don't know the story very well, but from the teaser, and it really was just kind of a teaser, we saw glimpses of what could be a very grounded and yet, as you said, mystical movie at the same time.
I think it's going to go there, Patrick.
Oh, it already did. It already went there.
And Awkwafina, who Disney now owns, actually. Did you know that?
Nobody owns Awkwafina. She owns all of us.
She probably owns Disney with the amount of money she's making for these movies. But Awkwafina, one of our favorites, Awkwafina, who we actually raved about in Raya and the Last Dragon, and she's going to be Scuttle in the upcoming live-action Little Mermaid movie. But Awkwafina appears in this movie as well, and she's bringing the yucks already. She appeared in the trailer. We got a classic Awkwafina scream from her in the trailer, and we got some comedy bits from her, so I can't wait to see her in this movie.
Yeah, she looks absolutely amazing in the movie. She looks hysterical in the movie, and I'm living for that speed adjacent scene that she was in.
She's driving a bus.
Yeah, she's driving a bus. Can't be stopped. Love it. Well done, Awkwafina.
And on top of all of that, it looks like there's going to be some incredible martial arts sequences in the film. So not only do we get this beautiful looking movie with a great soundtrack and great performers, but we're going to get these fabulous action sequences, which is really a first for Marvel. They've never really taken that step into action before, but they're really going there this time.
How brave. How brave.
So again, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings comes out September 3rd, 2021, only in theaters, says Disney. Patrick and I say, what? See it. See it, people.
Buy some popcorn, enjoy the movie, invite us.
And you'll hear our spoiler-free review of it shortly after it opens.
Mere minutes after it opens. I'm going to live stream it, frankly. That's how excited I am.
You will be hearing from Awkwafina's attorney.
I look forward to it. I look forward to it. Well, all of that, Adam, is in the future, but we now have some past to talk about. I'm talking about this week in Disney history.
I love it. I've missed it. Patrick, take us through some historical moments, Disney style.
Well, here we go. 24 years ago, Adam, on April 28th, 1997, the restaurant in Cinderella's castle in Disney World was officially renamed Cinderella's Royal Table, where you can dine like royalty overlooking Fantasyland. Now, the restaurant was originally and strangely called King Stephen's Banquet Hall. Now, Tweedles, help me out here. King Stephen was Sleeping Beauty's father, not Cinderella's. So why? Why, Disney, was it called King Stephen's Banquet Hall?
Maybe we had a Maury moment. Remember when Maury would reveal the father? And maybe, Patrick, Cinderella was actually King Stephen's daughter.
The results are in. There was a 99.9% chance that King Stephen is actually Cinderella's father.
And then King Stephen just tears off that stage back to behind the set where the cameras follow him, and he collapses.
That's right. That's right. That all happened 24 years ago. Oh, dear. Well, moving on, I have a very short item to talk about. 27 years ago, Adam, on April 29th, 1994, the very first Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival began.
Wow, Flower and Garden Festival. This is the one festival, I believe it's the one festival I have yet to attend at Epcot.
See, now, I think the Flower and Garden Festival might turn out to be one of your favorite festivals. It's absolutely beautiful during Flower and Garden.
Oh, so you just assume that I like beautiful things?
Well, you're looking at me right now, aren't you?
Oh, Patrick. You've been to Flower and Garden. In fact, you were just there.
I was just there. For a second, I thought you said you've been deflowering the garden, and I was like, Adam, how dare you?
I mean, where's the lie?
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, isn't the Flower and Garden Festival the first festival that Epcot started doing?
That's a great question. As a podcaster, a Disney podcaster specifically, I probably should know that, but I don't know that.
I should know that as well, but I am simply asking a question. I think I'm correct. Tweedles, come at me if I'm wrong and let me know.
You know what? Check out Google.
Hey, Siri. Everyone's phone is going off right now. That's my hope. That's my hope and my wish. Well, moving on, Adam, to our last item in This Week in Disney History. 30 years ago, on April 26th, 1991, the Sinclair family made their debut on the TV show Dinosaurs. The half-hour family sitcom, of course, featured a family of dinosaurs. Fran, Bobby, Charlene, Baby, Ethel, and, of course, not the mama, Earl Sinclair. The show was originally conceived by Jim Henson in 1988. Interestingly, not many people thought a show as wacky as this would work on primetime until The Simpsons became a huge hit in 1989. The show was then greenlit as a Henson Disney production and ran through October 1994. Now, at the time, it was one of the most expensive and time-consuming TV shows due to its elaborate costumes and sets. Now, Dinosaurs was a bit of a parody, for those who don't know, of classic TV family shows like All in the Family and even The Flintstones. It touched on a huge range of social issues like women's rights, censorship, civil rights, body image, the environment, LGBT rights, drug abuse, peer pressure, corporate crime, and racism. The series was praised by critics, earning it an Emmy Award for Outstanding Art Direction, and it currently, Adam, has an overall 96% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Amazing. Patrick, did you watch Dinosaurs as a kid?
I loved Dinosaurs. I have to believe that most of the jokes and the content went a little bit over my head at the time. I have been rewatching it on Disney Plus recently, and it still holds up. It's a great show.
I saw someone post on social media after Disney Plus launched the series that they had gone through it, and that the series finale is actually very, very upsetting.
Yeah, from what I remember, I believe it's like a message episode about like the environment and the impact that people create and extinction and all. It's a huge episode and a little sad at the same time.
I don't know if I can do it, honestly. I mean, that sweet little baby and its giant bug eyes looking like former Attorney General Bill Barr. I don't know, Patrick.
Oh my.
I don't know.
Oh my. Well, I implore you all out there, if you haven't seen Dinosaurs, go check it out on Disney Plus. It's a treat.
Thank you, Patrick, for those historical tidbits. As always, fantastic to learn something from that gorgeous face.
Oh, thank you so much, Adam. Thank you so much.
I guess they really can't see your face on a podcast, so...
Well, you can go on over to my Instagram at Patrick Kazuki and check out this delicious, delicious face.
I implore all of our Tweedles to just stare at Patrick's Instagram while you listen to the podcast.
That's what I do.
That's what you do.
That's right. That's right. I just look at pictures of myself and just laugh and laugh at the podcast. I'm so charmed by me.
Oh, I love it. Do you know what else I love, Patrick?
What's that?
I love Disney news.
Well, Adam, have I got a present for you? I went to Disney World and I didn't buy you anything, but I did bring back some news for you.
I hope it's my size.
It is returnable. It is returnable. Adam, I have a few Disney World updates and announcements for your nerves, starting with Animal Kingdom. Adam, the king has returned, or rather will return shortly. I can personally confirm that the Walt Disney World Resort Information Channel has started listing the Festival of the Lion King as returning this summer 2021. However, Walt Disney World President Jeff Valli, or as I like to call him, Sweet Valli High, announced on April 19th that the show would return this May 2021, a full 1 month ahead of summer.
That sounds like a conspiracy.
I suppose it all depends on how soon Nala can find Simba to let him know that the people need him, you know?
I love when you weave in actual story elements from The Lion King into news stories about Festival of the Lion King.
It's a gift. It's a gift, really. It's very Inception of me, you know?
It's so Inception of you. Get Christopher Nolan on the phone, because this guy right here, he's got it all figured out.
All figured out. So no date has been set yet as of this recording, but rehearsals are currently underway in the Harambe Theater, and cast members are right now prepping the theater with social distance safety measures. It's likely the theater will operate at roughly 50% guest capacity, as with most indoor attractions. Now, on the flip side of this story, Cirque du Soleil chief executive Daniel Lemaire recently announced that several Cirque shows would be returning to Las Vegas before the end of 2021, and a few would be returning as soon as this summer. However, there was no mention of Drawn to Life for Disney Springs. It has been reported that rehearsals are still being held at the theater in Disney Springs, and Disney itself listed the show in its 21 Ways to Kick Off 2021 press release earlier this year. So it seems nailing down an official answer on when the show will open is not very trapeze. Yeah.
Is that really what you wanted to do with that?
Mm-hmm. I worked on that joke for an embarrassingly long time.
Patrick, what do we need to do to make sure that Drawn to Life is open by the time we go for the 50th?
I think we need to fly down there and just camp out outside of the front doors with signs.
That's great. So we camp out, we ensure that it opens, we go to the opening, and we just reek to high heaven because we haven't showered in that many months.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. You're welcome, everybody. We do it for you.
Solid
for
plan.
you, Tweedles.
Yep, perfect.
It's a solid plan. Now, on a brighter note, Adam, quite literally, Disney World recently announced that they would be adding 2 additional solar facilities to the resort area. The new facilities are expected to be finished within the next 2 years, and when combined with the current Mickey-shaped solar facility, they will produce enough renewable energy to power up to 40% of all of Walt Disney World's total annual energy consumption. Now, a fun fact, as it stands today, Disney resorts around the world are currently producing enough solar energy to fully power 8 Magic Kingdom parks every day.
Wow. I wish somehow someone could hook up solar panels to me to give me that much energy.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be
Wouldn't
nice.
that be?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like a fuel rod for your bod, you know?
I've had a few fuel rods in my bod before, and
oh dear,
I say consult your doctor first.
That is upsetting.
Patrick, what shape do you think the new solar panels are going to make?
I've got a few answers that we cannot say here on the pod.
Patrick, I have a number of interesting tidbits regarding Disney films in various stages of development and production. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for my news story?
3.5.
Cool. First up, in an April 21st Deadline exclusive, we learned that Disney is developing a Jim Henson biopic entitled Muppet Man. The live-action film will chart the life and times of the legendary puppeteer who passed away in 1990 on my birthday, might I add. That was not the happiest birthday for me. He passed away in 1990 at the age of 53. Henson is the creator of the Muppets, Fraggle Rock, and many of the Sesame Street characters, as well as director of cult films such as Labyrinth and The Dark Crystal. The movie will hone in on Henson's journey to convince broadcasters that the Muppets was a great idea and how he worked to get the characters on air where they became a comedy staple. Henson's daughter, Lisa Henson, who is currently in production on Guillermo del Toro's upcoming Pinocchio for Netflix, is producing for the Jim Henson Company. Disney has owned the rights to the Muppets characters since 2004 and reportedly had discussions with the Henson Company about a biopic back in 2010, but there's been no word since then. The studio released Disney Plus series Muppets Now last year, while the most recent film in the franchise was the 2014 pick Muppets Most Wanted. Patrick, a Jim Henson biopic, how are you feeling about that?
I can't believe there hasn't been one yet, quite frankly.
Shocking that there wasn't an actor somewhere in Hollywood who was demanding an Oscar, because this surely seems like an Oscar-worthy production.
100%. Tilda Swinton, get ready.
She kind of would be fantastic, would she not?
She'd be amazing.
Next, Anastasia and Drizella are getting the live-action treatment again. An April 16th Deadline exclusive, again, another Deadline exclusive, announced that the Oscar-nominated writers of Bridesmaids and stars of the recent film Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, Kristen Wiig and Annie Mumolo, will reteam for their first adventure with Disney, a live-action, untitled Cinderella Evil Stepsisters film. Sources add that at this time it is unknown whether Wiig and Mumolo would also be starring in the film, since it's so early in development. Insiders also add that even if they were to appear in the film down the road, it wouldn't be as the stepsisters, as the plan is for them to be played by younger actresses. The film is a fairy tale musical comedy that reimagines the Cinderella classic from the point of view of the infamous evil stepsisters, spanning their early childhood through the marriage of of their universally beloved stepsister and beyond. We follow Anastasia and Drizella Tremaine as they struggle to uphold their family's legacy. Patrick, how are you feeling about this one?
So excited about this. I already am laughing about it. I think it's going to be hysterical and amazing.
Yeah, we haven't really had a Disney villain full-on like comedy yet, and we need that.
Oh, for sure. And these two are two of the funniest people on planet Earth. So I have every faith that this is going to be a funny movie.
I kind of feel like it would be hilarious if they just played them. Like, who cares what their ages are? Like, it's funny if 40-year-old women actually played the 20-year-old women.
I almost want just like a Where Are They Now movie about it, like sort of a Grey Gardens situation with the stepsisters.
It's very Grey Gardens. It would be very Grey Gardens.
Yeah, I'm fully into that.
Oh, my gosh. Patrick, reach out to Kristen Wiig. Get Kristen Wiig on the phone. Let's make this happen.
Okay, I'm on it.
Another exclusive from Deadline. Wow, Deadline is killing it lately. In an April 22nd exclusive, it was revealed that Disney is in negotiations with Justin Simien to direct the new movie based on the classic dark ride, The Haunted Mansion. Simien wrote, produced, and directed the critically acclaimed Sundance darling Dear White People. The film was so well received, Netflix adapted it into a TV series with Simien serving as creative and executive producer. The show is currently in production in its fourth season. Simien also directed another huge Sundance hit, Bad Hair, which premiered on Hulu last October. As we previously reported, Dan Lin and Jonathan Eyrick, who produced the live-action hit Aladdin, are producing through their Ride Back banner. Katie Dippold, who wrote the 2016 Ghostbusters reboot, wrote the most recent draft of the film's script. So, Patrick, the Haunted Mansion movie finally found its director.
Finally, a great director. Dear White People is so good. If you're not watching it, you're doing it wrong. I think this movie has a fighting chance.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he's going to do with it. I hope this just becomes a huge hit and fingers crossed franchise for Disney. Moving on to The Hollywood Reporter exclusive, Patrick. So this one, just so you know, is coming from The Hollywood Reporter.
Can't be trusted.
But why should Deadline get all the exclusives, Patrick?
Fair. Inclusion, Adam. Inclusion.
Thank you so much. According to an April 22nd article, Disney is closing a deal to pick up the rights to the hit Broadway show, the 25th annual Putnam Counting Spelling Bee, with the intent of mounting a live-action adaptation. Dan Lin and Jonathan Eyrick are producing Spelling Bee via their Ride Back banner, because what Disney film aren't they producing?
All of it. They're doing all of it.
The musical comedy follows several competitors with diverse backstories who are competing in a bee. The show hit Broadway in 2005 and earned 6 Tony nominations, winning 2 Best Book and Best Actor. Spelling Bee is on a list of the top 100 longest-running Broadway shows and has been staged in local productions around the country. Hollywood producers have courted the creators for years, but this marks the first time it has been officially set up at a studio. A search for the filmmakers to adapt the material is just getting underway, Patrick.
Interesting. This is a great show. I'm a little bit nervous about them turning it into a movie, though. I hope that they continue the legacy of casting adults as children. I think that's part of what makes the show so funny and charming. And I don't know. Listen, there's a lot of talented kids out there, but I don't know that casting children in these roles is the best idea.
Yeah, it's tricky because as a film, there needs to be a certain level of realness to it, Patrick, but the whole conceit of the show, as you mentioned, is that adults are playing kids, and that's what makes it so darn hysterical. And just inserting kids into those roles is just not going to play the same.
Also, it's a pretty heavy audience participation show, so I don't know how they're going to do that in the film. I mean, they kind of have to reimagine the whole thing, which may take some of the magic out of it. I don't know. I'm lukewarm on this one.
I mean, how many more Fanning children can there be out there to play these roles?
That's fair. It sounds like we're both a meh on this one, and that's spelled MEH.
Wow, that brain of yours.
The Disney Parks mission to make Patrick cry as often as possible has officially been achieved. As many of our Tweedles may know, Disney operates under the guiding principles of its 4 keys of service: safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency. Earlier this April, Chairman of Disney Parks, Experiences and Products, Josh D'Amaro, announced a 5th key that will be the heart of Disney's operations going forward: inclusion. This key will represent the phrase spoken by Walt Disney himself at the dedication of Disneyland in 1955 and the words that inspired Adam and I to create this podcast: to all who come to this happy place, welcome. Examples of the 5th key of inclusion can already be seen within the Disney parks, with the updates currently happening on the Jungle Cruise, the upcoming updates to reimagine Splash Mountain with a Princess and the Frog treatment, the Disney Dreamers Academy, and the addition of the Soul of Jazz exhibit in Epcot. Disney has also made a major update that will embrace inclusion and celebrate the diversity of its cast members. Going forward, cast members will now have the option to show up for work using hairstyles, jewelry, nail styles, and costume choices that represent their gender identity. The options available for each cast member will be far more gender inclusive than ever before. Additionally, for the first time, appropriate visible tattoos will now be allowed. The goal is to allow Disney cast members to better express their culture and identity while at work. A quote from Josh D'Amaro: "We believe our cast, who are the center of the magic that lives in all our experiences, can provide the best of Disney's legendary guest service when they have more options for personal expression. The world is changing, and we will change with it and continue to be a source of joy and inspiration for all. We'll never stop working to make sure that Disney is a welcoming place." Now, for an extra cry, everybody, be sure to check out the Everyone Belongs video that Disney recently released on YouTube.
I just can't get behind this, Patrick.
Yeah, I had a feeling that you wouldn't be invested in this one.
This is so fantastic. I mean, those restrictions that were placed on cast members' looks were dumb.
Indeed, they were. I have to say, on my recent trip, which we'll talk about in just a moment, I can't stop talking about it, Adam, I had the chance to see some of this in play, and it was really amazing to see these cast members showing up for work as themselves. You know, it was very inspiring.
Yeah. Do you want to know how you can absolutely max out your magical time in a Disney park? It's when cast members who are a large part of that magic are fully able to be themselves and, you know, express themselves in ways that they weren't able to before. So now finally Disney is leaning into this, and we're going to be able to witness people who are allowed to be themselves in a place that we all love.
Absolutely. It's a huge culture shift for Disney, and absolutely in the correct direction.
I hope Cinderella has a big old face tattoo the next time I see her.
It's just a pumpkin tattoo covering her face.
This next story features Disney and dolls. And no, Disney isn't developing a reboot of the 1967 film Valley of the Dolls. But if they were, you can bet that Dan Lin and Jonathan Eyrich of Rideback would be producing it.
100%.
Also, can you imagine, Patrick, if Disney had a line of dolls like pills? Pills?
I can't imagine it because I've just had some myself.
You need to come down from that high. No, don't. Stay in that high, Patrick. Stay up in that high. Mm-hmm. Disney has announced that their line of classic dolls will come in new plastic-free packaging, available on shopdisney.com, at Walt Disney World Resort, and Disney stores in North America and Disneyland Resort. The plastic-free packaging is made of sustainably sourced paper that is 100% recyclable. The collection includes 15 classic characters such as Queens Anna and Elsa. Oh, that's right. They're both queens now.
Queen with a KW.
Are both queens with a KW. Ariel, Belle, Jasmine, Moana, Tiana, and more. The new plastic-free packaging can be recycled curbside or reused, providing collectors and their families the opportunity to utilize the box as a prop at playtime or for storage. And Patrick, that's straight off the Disney Parks blog. Use them for those props.
I'm going to use it as a seat booster.
That's so perfect. This plastic-free packaging will become available at global locations later this year and is part of Disney's broader commitment to environmental stewardship. And Patrick, I've said it before on this podcast, you know, if I was going to collect anything, I fully think it would be Disney dolls.
I see that for you. I think that's why you moved into a house, right? So you can start that collection.
Yes, this is my doll house, literally.
No one will be visiting you.
No, they're beautiful, those dolls. I love them. I'm going to start collecting them. I am. They will come to life at night because, you know, this house is haunted, but I'm going to collect them.
You're going to wake up and Anna and Elsa will just be staring at you.
I have no problem with that. Patrick, something's different about you.
Is that a weight joke, Adam? Is that a weight joke?
Not at all. No, there's a glow, a lightness. Something's changed since the last time I saw you.
I'll tell you what, Adam, I'm just covered in pixie dust.
Oh, that's what it is. Because as you've been teasing this entire episode, you, my friend, have just returned from your first trip to Walt Disney World in over a year.
Over a year. I finally got my fix. I had the shakes for quite some time. And I'm back, Adam. I'm back from Disney World.
You said, I must go back. And now that you're back, you've already proclaimed on this very podcast that you want to go back again.
That's right. I'm setting fire to my house right after our recording, so I have no place to live, which will launch me into Disney World. I think it's an airtight plan.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it, really.
Mm-hmm. It just makes sense.
You know, Patrick, I was curious this morning. I couldn't help but wonder. I had to look back in our episode history to find out the last time that one of us did a trip report. And in fact, it was episode 71, Patrick.
Oh, no. Oh, really? Wow.
Can you believe that? For a while there, it was like every 3 or 4 months, one of us would come back from a trip and have something to talk about. But no, the pandemic, of course, kept us away from the Disney parks. But thankfully, we have Patrick to talk to today to learn all about his most recent trip. I'm very excited, Patrick. So what do you say you and I dive into some questions I have pre-prepared for you, and then, you know, of course, you just talk about anything you want.
I will. I'll talk about the Golden Girls, a little bit of Mary Tyler Moore. Who can say?
The floor is yours. But Patrick, before we get to Disney World, I just want to know, for my own curiosity, and I would imagine a lot of our Tweedles are very curious too, who have not traveled since the start of the pandemic. What was the travel experience like? This was your first time flying since the beginning of the pandemic, right?
That's right. This is the first time I've been out of the state since the pandemic started. My only real trip was when I went camping earlier last year, or in the middle of last year.
And did you fly to go camping?
I did not fly to go camping.
You didn't take your prop plane?
I was going to, but then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to take a car. I'm going to be, environmentally friendly. We're going to carpool there. I'm thoughtful that way. But I did take a plane to Walt Disney World.
Good. What was that whole experience like? Were you anxious? Give us the details.
I think that was one of the most anxious parts of the trip, was being in the airport. For the majority of the vacation, I felt quite safe. I did everything I could do to keep myself and others safe. But there is something about an airport security line that will never stop being terrible.
Yeah, I mean, terrible pre-pandemic. I can only imagine at this point what it's like when you're all masked up and like people are still coughing on you.
Yeah. There just is there's no decorum right now in in an airport security line. So that for me was I could do without that. If there's a way to to fix that, traveling would be a lot less anxiety inducing for me. But beyond that, most people were doing a good job of staying away from each other. I flew Delta, and they're still doing the gap seat, so that felt good as well. But yeah, overall, it wasn't. I wasn't as anxious as I thought I would be.
That's great to hear. I think a lot of people are probably, and rightfully so, a little concerned or questioning travel right now, but the year has kind of proven, the time has proven that it is actually very safe to travel as long as you follow the precautions, and it sounds like you did just that.
Yeah, for sure. I want to be very clear that I think that I would have been a lot more anxious had I not been vaccinated. I think that played into a huge mental game for me. Having been vaccinated, I felt a little bit safer for myself anyways. I absolutely stood as far away from people as I could throughout the entire trip because, being vaccinated doesn't mean you can't pass on the coronavirus. So I think, I think had I not been vaccinated, I maybe would have second-guessed this trip a little bit more. But as I said, I've been vaccinated. I felt good about it, and that helped my journey. We're all on our own personal journeys with travel right now, so I'm not here to advise anyone to travel, but I am here to say that you can do it safely.
You absolutely can. And I totally understand the vaccination thing would be a game changer for sure, to know that you have that extra level of protection in addition to masking and social distancing. I think that really does kind of alleviate a lot of stress that would be tied into traveling right now.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
All right, so let's talk about the reason for the trip. So the reason you were originally scheduled for this trip was because of the Star Wars Rival Run weekend, right?
Yes, absolutely right. I actually had quite a few trips last year that were canceled that were going to be Run Disney events, and this one was on the books, and I waited it out. I waited until the last minute to cancel, and luckily I got my vaccination. Things started to open up a little bit. The country is doing a little bit better right now, so I think now's the time. I think I'm emotionally ready to get on a plane and head out to Disney World, and I decided that though the Run Disney event went virtual, I wanted to do the 10K on Disney property, so I did just that.
So let's dive into that experience first before we kind of talk about your overall impressions of the parks during a pandemic. Let's talk about your running on property. What was it like to participate virtually, but also in Walt Disney World?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have to say, if nothing else from the trip, I'm so glad I went and did the run and participated in the virtual Run Disney event. It was such an emotional highlight, I would say, of the trip for me. So I stayed at Pop Century, which is where I did the run then. They have that beautiful lake that connects Pop Century and the Art of Animation. Those two resorts are connected by this beautiful lake that also has a Skyliner on it. And so it was a great view for sure. And fun fact, I think the lake is about just under 2 miles. And so that was a nice measurement for me to run around. I started pretty early in the morning. At first, I was the only one on the road for a minute. And then slowly, a few people would start to trickle in. And you could absolutely tell that they were there doing the same thing, doing the Rival Run weekend around that little lake. There was sort of a look that would pass between everybody as they ran past each other, that sort of knowing nod that, hey, we're here, we're doing it together. We were all feeling that same emotion of like wanting so badly to be in the official run and missing it so much and wondering if this is what it might look like going forward and just figuring all of that out. And then also realizing that as we're running at this resort, you have to imagine that all of the resorts are going through this right now, and that there are people all over Disney World doing their run. And then even at a larger scale, people all over the country are doing this right now at the same time together, but distanced, right? So all of that played into a very emotional way to start that day. All of us were sort of running and taking breaks to like soak it all in and cry a little bit. It was one of the most emotional Run Disney events that I've been a part of, ironically, because it was a virtual Run Disney event.
I would have to imagine that this is one of the first runs that was scheduled where more people participated on property. We're kind of getting to that point now where people are beginning to feel more safe again. And it's not that, you should stop taking precautions, but there is that kind of level of comfort now in being around others, but still maintaining your distance. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to make it sound like, I'm going out to the bars every night, but at the same time, reaching that point where more and more people are getting vaccinated. So it seems like this weekend, this Star Wars Rival Run weekend, may have been one of the first where there was more of a community running on property.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I don't know that for a fact, but I imagine that more and more people are starting to sort of emotionally navigate themselves to a place where they feel comfortable doing that and traveling and being together, really. Obviously, we're staying apart from each other, but there was a sense of community for the first time in a very long time for a Run Disney event.
Did you still wake up at 2:30 a.m. to start your run?
I did not. And that was a delight as well, that I didn't have to wake up at 2:30. I did wake up before the sun came out, because we all know that Florida gets very hot very quickly and very humid. So it was a nice cool temperature when I did the run.
What is it? It's April. How was the temperature while you were there? What is it like in April in Orlando?
It wasn't too bad. I mean, according to my Apple Watch, it was only about a high of 80 degrees, but that doesn't factor in the humidity of it all. But it wasn't too bad. It was a little bit rainy, which was nice. It wasn't, monsoony, but it was there was just enough rain to cool things down a little bit. So for me, it was a perfect temperature experience while I was there.
I love that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Walt Disney World during a pandemic. It sounds weird to say, but we need to get into it. And so we've kind of been hearing stories from various Tweedles about their own experiences, but it's great to get it straight from the horse's mouth, Patrick. So what was your impression of the resort during COVID, and specifically like masks in the parks? Were people really adhering to that? And what was the screening process like? And what was the lack of fast passes like? Get into all of that for us.
Ooh, so many things to answer. Let's start with the masks of it all, I suppose. I think, in my opinion, because we're so far into this now and we're so used to wearing masks, that it wasn't really as cumbersome as I thought it was going to be. Certainly, this is probably the longest period of time that I was wearing a mask for, for hours and hours on end. Usually I wear a mask to go to the grocery store or whatever, and then come home and take my mask off. Right. But when you're in the parks, it's basically on your face for hours and hours and hours at a time, unless, of course, you're eating. And I thought that was going to take a pretty big emotional toll on me. But as I said, I think because we're so far into this and we're so used to it by now, that it wasn't as out of place as I had assumed it was going to be. It was a lot more comfortable. And frankly, I was grateful for it, because I'm still in that place where I don't want to catch this disease. I don't want to give it to anybody else. And so I was grateful for the cast members that had to remind people to put their mask back on or to put it over their nose. One thing that's a little bit jarring, I would say, is the announcements that frequently happen of the reminders to put your mask on and to cover both your mouth and your nose. Certainly it's needed. I think a lot of people are still trying to get past this and think that they're over wearing a mask, and you're not. We're not there yet. So they do need the reminder, unfortunately. But that's the one thing that's a little bit out of place, is hearing that overhead announcement all over the park. I think it happens like every 15 minutes or so, sort of like a grocery store announcement,
Yeah.
It was interesting. But as I said, it did make me feel very safe to know that Disney is very strictly enforcing the masks and the social distancing. So that was nice, actually.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that those announcements were happening as often as that. We had Tweedles mention that it is a little dystopian when you're in one of your favorite places in the whole world, and then suddenly you're kind of switched back into reality by the fact that you do hear this announcement on a repeating basis.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to put it. It is sort of pulling you back into reality when you're in this fantasy land, literally the fantasy land. And then, dancing to a Peter Pan song down Main Street, and all of a sudden, please put your mask over your nose and mouth. It's a little strange, but that's where we are right now, right?
Just a reminder, you're a walking sack of germs. Cover your mouth and nose.
100%. 100%. Also, I'll say my hands have never been cleaner than while at a Disney park, because those hand sanitizer stations are absolutely everywhere. They're basically like the new candy dish. Every time you pass one, you just have to take a little bit, you know?
I love it. You know, that's actually a great kind of combo, Patrick. The hand sanitizer and Florida's extreme humidity, your hands will never dry out and they'll always be clean.
A little sticky. They leave a little bit of a residue.
You're used to sticky hands, though, aren't you?
I sure am for very many different reasons. But yeah, that was lovely. They're the new trash can. You're never more than 10 feet away from a hand sanitizer station.
Talk about the screening process to get into the parks. Are they still taking your temperature before you can enter?
They sure are. Interestingly, there are a lot more steps now, obviously, to get into a park. However, you get into a park so much quicker than you ever did before. So when you first approach the park, quite a distance away from the turnstiles, they do take your temperature. I believe if you are, I think it's 102 degrees or warmer, then you have to go to a different place to get your temperature retaken and to see if everything's okay. Luckily, that did not happen to me. But it's real quick. It's just like one of those, for lack of a better word, it's a temperature gun. Basically, they put on your forehead, and then you just walk right through, and then you go through the metal detector, basically, which is very quick and happens in seconds. And here's what I'll say. Those metal detectors are very, very sensitive. They will pick up a lot of things. JT from the Disney Buzz, he was there on the trip with me. He had a mint tin in his backpack that set off every single metal detector that he went through. I mean, just like an Altoids tin, basically. At one point, I got a button for donating to the Animal Conservation Fund, and that started to make the alarms go off, basically, when I walked through. So they're very sensitive, which is reassuring, I would say.
Oh, yeah, extremely reassuring. Unfortunate that buttons and pins would set them off, but yeah.
That seems like a miss. Like they need to start making the buttons out of rubber or something. I don't know.
And then talk about, if you will, the lack of fast passes, because fast passes are intrinsically tied to Walt Disney World, right? Like, you know, all of us really hardcore Disney fans are up early as soon as our fast pass window opens to get those fast passes. What's it like being in Walt Disney World now without fast passes being implemented?
Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. It was so freeing not to be tied to a reservation to go on a ride, right? I felt like I could do anything whenever I wanted and not be beholden to this, you know, this time window. There was just a lot less stress because of it. I have to believe most of the complaints that Disney used to get from park guests is that they missed their fast pass window, right? I think a lot of people, they get so stressed out about it and it consumes them all day long. Without the fast passes, that whole stress level is just gone. You can just do basically a lap around the park and go on any ride you want whenever you want. That being said, of course, they're at about 50% capacity right now, the park. So I don't know what that'll look like going forward, if they'll bring back the fast passes. And if they don't, I don't know what it'll look like when it's 100% capacity, if rides will be 8 years long to get on anything. But I'll tell you what, we never waited more than 30 minutes to get on anything within any of the parks.
I'm really curious to see what they're going to do once everything's normal, whatever normal's going to be after all of this. But I'm wondering if there's going to be a switch in the FastPass system, or if they're developing something, or if they're going to kind of transition more to a Disneyland style of FastPass distribution. I think a lot of people, I mean, we've heard from Tweedles that have really kind of embraced this fast pass less style and approach to Walt Disney World. So it'll be interesting to see where they go after this is all over.
My hunch is that they will start implementing a lot more virtual queues instead of the FastPass system, and you just sort of, like Disneyland, as you were saying, you just sort of, everything's a la carte. You just sort of pick them up as needed, as opposed to having to reserve them, you know, a year in advance or whatever it is. Something that helps a lot is everywhere you go, there are these social distancing measures of like 6 feet apart markers, basically, for you to stand in line, which gives the appearance, at least, that the line is sort of always moving because you're not huddled together in a big mess. I don't miss the phrase "fill in every available space."
Sure, yeah.
I'm so glad that phrase is gone. I have to imagine it's never coming back. I don't think we're going to go there again, of squeezing people in, because it's so uncomfortable. The queues are now actually quite lovely because you have your own space right now. Someone's not breathing down your neck or coughing on you or sneezing on you. It's hard to imagine why we ever got sick when going to a park. It's really lovely. And having that in place also makes the people in Disney who are doing it wrong stand out like sore thumbs, because there are still people who will try to stand right on your heels. And now you feel very empowered to turn around and ask them to kindly step back and say, that's your spot. This is my spot. I wish that we didn't have to do that. I think Disney pulled that team that they had in place too early. There was a team in place that would walk around the parks and sort of enforce masks and enforce social distancing. They're gone now, basically. I think there might be a couple of them around, but it's now sort of up to the guest to fend for themselves, which I think is a miss. I think they need those cast members back.
Yeah, I'm surprised that that is the case. You know, it feels like this past year plus, has kind of trained us all in the art of personal space again. And, you know, that can immediately be eliminated anytime you're in a Disney park. So hopefully there'll be more of an awareness going forward now of kind of spacing and allowing people the room they need, because you don't know what people are thinking or feeling about having someone right on top of them. It's just a good reminder, you know, like we talk about positives from the pandemic, which has just been an absolute nightmare. But there has been now this reminder that everyone has their own kind of personal anxieties about things or about, you know, spacing of people. And this is a good reminder that you need to give people their space when you're in a park.
Yeah, absolutely. As we've said a million times, everyone's on their own journey, and so you have to respect everyone is having a different day than you are, and not everyone is ready to be next to you, nor do they want to be next to you, nor should they have to be right next to you. So just give everyone the upfront courtesy of keeping your space unless they invite you into their own personal bubble.
And on a personal note, I hope that you really take that to heart the next time we're on a Disney trip together.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to 6 feet plus apart from you, I think.
Thank you so much, Patrick. That means the world to me, the Disney world to me.
Aw, lovely.
Was there anything else kind of pandemic related that you were very aware of during your visit?
Yeah, I would say the rides themselves are an interesting experience right now. They are still loading most of the rides, at least, at about 50% capacity. So if you imagine, like Pirates of the Caribbean, for instance, they're loading every other row right now, depending on if you're with a group or not. So it's like one group could take up 1 or 2 rows, and then they'll leave a gap row for the next group or family. With that comes a little bit more of an enjoyable experience, I would say, on the ride. So if we're sticking with Pirates of the Caribbean, you can see so much more of the ride because someone's not directly in front of you. I am short, and so everyone in the world is taller than me, so I can never see over anybody. But now I can see the entire ride all the time. Also, you can hear the rides a lot better as well, because there's not so many people on them. Yeah, I've heard dialogue on rides that I've never heard before because there's not a million screaming kids. There's just one screaming child instead. And you don't really notice much. There are some rides that have the plexiglass that are separating people. Most of the rides you don't notice it on, with the exception, for me at least, of Frozen Ever After. For some reason, the Frozen ride, the plexiglass is really high up, and a lot of the ride is in front of you and not just on the sides of you. So you don't really see a lot unless you're in the front row. You can't really see Elsa when she's singing at you. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And for some reason, those plexiglass dividers were always smudged and dirty. I don't know why. There's something about Frozen that makes people want to just touch that plexiglass and splash water on it. I don't know what it is. So it makes a very different ride. Also, it ruins the photo that you get on that ride. I don't know why there's a photo on that ride to begin with. Like,
right.
It doesn't need to happen, but you literally cannot see anybody in the ride except for the person in the front row.
Oh, I'm just imagining a ton of like little kids who just want to reach out to Elsa, putting their grubby little hands up on the plexiglass.
Yes, exactly. But other than that, you sort of you kind of immediately acclimate to the safety measures that are happening within Disney, and you become very happy that they're there as well, because it just, when you're not huddled in a big glob of people, your day is just so much better.
Yeah, I can imagine. It'd be so interesting to go right now and to have that experience where there's a cap on attendance and there are markers to kind of encourage social distancing. Like I said before, hopefully this will lead to better behavior and more of an understanding of just personal space overall in the parks.
Yeah, I frankly hope that going forward, the cue markers of standing in one spot and keeping your distance continues. I think that it just makes a much more enjoyable and stress-free experience in a queue, because there's nothing more stressful, I think, than being in a queue on a hot day when people are standing right on top of you. So this just like gives you that room to breathe, which is nice and needed.
Well, let's talk about some new experiences you may have had on this trip. Now, one thing that I'm aware of and most curious about, I'm assuming you got to ride it, is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Boy, did I ride that ride. In fact, I believe I was on it 4 or 5 times.
So you hated it then?
I absolutely hated it. No, this is a ride that surpassed all of my expectations. It is such a joy. It is a delight. It is quintessential Disney. I think this ride is. Everyone will enjoy this ride. It's amazing. Amazing.
That's so great to hear. I'm not surprised that you loved it. I mean, everyone we've been talking to has absolutely kind of fallen in love with this ride. Does it feel like a really great kind of Mickey and Friends based attraction that will kind of stand the test of time and be kind of a new classic dark ride?
I think so, absolutely. It doesn't even feel like a dark ride. I don't want to give away too much, but the way that they've laid out this ride is so fun, and it's almost thrilling to be on it. There's an exhilaration that comes with it. It's not a slow-moving ride necessarily. There's something unique about it that will delight you and make you wonder how they're doing it. It's very magical. It makes you fall in love with Mickey and Minnie and the classic characters in a whole new way. If you're a fan of the new Mickey Mouse cartoons, you're absolutely going to be a fan of this ride. It made me re-fall in love with Daisy Duck so much that I bought a Daisy Duck plush while I was there. She's fantastic, and she gets the star treatment, I think, on this ride, which is much deserved. Daisy Duck is an unsung hero, I think, of the Disney Friends. It's really lovely also just to be inside the Chinese theater again. It's been closed for so long. That was a delight to see. Interestingly, it looked to me as though they hadn't really done much to the theater itself on the inside. They haven't changed like the wallpaper or the carpeting, which makes it feel like it is actually an old movie theater that Mickey and Minnie have taken over. So there's a fun juxtaposition between the old theater and the new ride. There's a fun transition that happens. Speaking of, the one thing that I was a little sad about is that you don't get to see the pre-ride show.
Oh.
So that's kind of gone right now in Disney World. All of the shows that happen right before a ride that explains what the ride is are kind of gone in the interest of not huddling people together and keeping the ride moving, which is nice, but also you do miss that. So I haven't fully experienced Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway yet, but soon I hope.
Yeah, something to look forward to the next time you go back. That's interesting to me. I guess I didn't really think about that, but I guess a pre-show would kind of translate to people kind of, again, packing in together and being close and like waiting in one confined area. So that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. For example, the Haunted Mansion, you just sort of walk through the stretching room. It doesn't do the show before the ride. The one pre-ride show that does happen is Rise of the Resistance. But as you know, Adam, and as anyone knows who's gone on that attraction, it's all kind of one thing, though. So it's needed.
Yeah, and there is that space there. Rise of the Resistance does seem to have like more room to allow for that kind of experience. One thing that's sad about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and I'm not going to spoil anything here, but do you miss like the magical element to the pre-show that I've heard about?
You do. You absolutely do.
Yeah, that's too bad. But you'll be able to experience that then on a later trip. That'll be fun.
Yeah, something to look forward to for sure. But it totally makes sense because the room that happens in is pretty small, and so I feel like this would make it a 4-hour wait if they were still doing the show.
Yeah, absolutely. What other new experiences did you have on this trip?
Mostly new food experiences, Adam.
Oh, do tell, Patrick.
So I did get to go to California Grill, which is absolutely amazing. If you haven't eaten there yet, I highly recommend it.
I have not had the pleasure of a California Grill experience yet. You loved it?
I absolutely loved it. For those who don't know, it is the restaurant that's basically on top of the Contemporary Resort, and it overlooks the Magic Kingdom. And at night, it is absolutely stunning. Obviously, the fireworks aren't happening right now, so you don't get to see that. But just the view alone is worth going up there. And here's what I'll say. It's a bit pricey. It's one of the pricier restaurants within Disney World, but this is one of the few, if not the only, pricey restaurant that I've been to so far that the food matches the price.
Oh, that's great to hear, too. And I think, right, Patrick, even if you can't get a reservation or don't want to dedicate the time or money to the grill itself, there's a lounge up there, too, right? You can experience?
There is, but I believe right now the only way to go up there is with a reservation.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely check your phone to make sure that you're at the right time and you have a reservation, and then they let you get into the elevator that goes up to the top of the resort. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It's for adults, I would say. I don't know that I would bring a child there because the food is so elevated and a little bit pricey, and there's no characters there as well. So the kids may not like it, but it's really lovely. It's a very romantic restaurant, I would say.
Ooh, that's good to know too about, I'm sure people will take their children. Obviously, it's Disney World, but it's nice to know that if you do want a bit of a respite from families, you can head up to California Grill, have a nice meal, and possibly a romantic experience.
You never know. And what's nice about the Contemporary is if you do have kids, there's Chef Mickey's there, and they are going to love Chef Mickey's. Like, go there if you have children. If you can get rid of your kids, then go to the California Grill.
Yeah, just leave your kids at Chef Mickey's and then go up to California Grill.
100%. That's just good parenting.
Absolutely the way to parent. What else did you eat?
We got reservations for the Edison in Disney Springs.
Oh, how was that experience?
It's really great. Really great. The service is outstanding. The atmosphere is great. There's live music, which is so nice to have. I forgot how much I love and miss live music. It seems like it's been 1,000 years since I've heard anyone play an instrument. So it's great. It was really great. The food's pretty good. I wouldn't say that it's a must-do for food, but it is a must-do for the ambiance.
And normally, I think the Edison has live performers too. I'm assuming they were not performing.
That I don't know. I don't know what the Edison is normally like under normal circumstances, so I can only speak to what I experienced, and there was a live singer and piano player on the ground level.
For some reason, I feel like I've heard there was some kind of aerialist or something, maybe in one of the room. I don't know. I might be making that up.
Who can say? Who can say? Here's a fun thing that happened while we were there. My friend Mike, who was on the trip, he ordered the ribs, and now when you order the ribs, you don't get a couple of ribs. You get a full Fred Flintstone situation of ribs. It was a real treat to watch him try to take that rib plate down. It was amazing. And they're really delicious too. I will say the ribs are good, but eat them with a friend.
That's good advice anywhere you go. Eat ribs with a friend because you will look a mess and a fool.
He didn't look a fool. He was a delight to watch while eating the ribs, but it was a lot. It was overkill for the ribs for sure.
All right, so we had California Grill, the Edison. What else new?
Oh, well, I also got to eat at Ale and Compass in the yacht club. Our friend Chris from Wishful Thinking got reservations. I got to meet him while we were there in person. And we had breakfast together at Ale and Compass. What a delight. That is a charming restaurant.
I have had the pleasure of dining there too, also for breakfast, and I really enjoyed it. And it's a great way, especially if you're going to either Epcot or the studios, to kind of kick off your day in that boardwalk resort area.
That's exactly what happened. We had, I believe it was a 9 o'clock breakfast reservation. I had the blueberry bacon pancakes, which are exquisite.
Oh,
please order those.
Sounds amazing.
So good, so delicious. And then after breakfast, I just walked on into Epcot. It was a 5-minute walk from the restaurant.
That's great. Yeah, that is a great kind of little, I don't know if it would still be a hidden gem. I'm assuming most people maybe aren't aware of it because it is still relatively new. But the ambiance is fantastic, and the food I also had there was excellent.
Yeah, the food's great. The service is great. It's quiet. It's not a loud restaurant. There's enough room in there to hear your partner speak while you're enjoying a meal together. And I will say, if you have the chance to meet Chris from Wishful Thinking, do so. He is an absolute delight in person and on the podcast.
I don't know. You know,
He's fine. He's fine. And maybe I'm a little bit biased because, Adam, he brought me as a gift 2 cookies from Gideon's.
Oh, so this was also a new experience then for you.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so glad he did that because there's generally about a 4-hour wait to get your cookies from Gideon's in Disney Springs. And he was so kind because he was there the day before to pick up a couple of cookies. And I will say it is worth the wait because those cookies are amazing. Like, they're meals. They're about 4 pounds each, it feels like. But yeah, they're fantastic. If you have a chance to have a Gideon's cookie, do so.
That is my type of cookie. And so thoughtful of him to bring you breakfast dessert after your blueberry bacon pancakes.
Exactly. No, I did walk around the parks with them in my backpack, and I am a lot stronger for having done so. You know, it was like doing deadlifts, basically, carrying those cookies around.
And any gains you may have made were completely lost when you took another bite.
That's exactly correct. That is exactly correct.
Well, you mentioned Chris, you mentioned Mike, you mentioned JT already. Let's talk about some of the people you got to spend some time with on this trip.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I said, I got to hang out with JT. He was there for the exact same time I was. We arrived and left on the same day, and we were both staying in Pop Century. So I got to basically hang out with him for the entire trip, which was a joy. He's a blast to be in a Disney parks with. I think you and I both know that you have to be picky about who you hang out in Disney with because when you're there, you're kind of stuck with them. And if it's not a good travel partner, then it can be a disaster. But JT was a joy to hang out with. I also got to hang out with Matt, as we all know from Explore the World podcast, Matt Long, who's Landlopers on Instagram.
Matt Long, noted Disney fanatic.
Noted Disney fanatic, absolutely. He was just ending his trip as I was beginning my trip, but we got to have dinner together in the California Grill. He made those reservations for us.
Oh, that's so nice of him. That's great.
Yeah, he's a joy to hang out with in Disney as well. And he was there with Miles, who is a GDTD fan. He's one of our Tweedles. He's on Instagram at Wonderful World of Miley.
Oh, yes. I love when we get to meet Tweedles or just, people who are on Instagram who follow us. It's such a shocking moment, I want to say, because you're just so used to seeing people on Instagram that when you actually see their face in person, you're like, oh my gosh, it's you. It's like meeting a celebrity.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah, he's a joy as well. He, I believe, is also from DC, so he and Matt were sort of traveling together, and we all had dinner together at the California Grill. I was also lucky enough to hang out with my friend Matt, who is from Minnesota. Matt is someone that I ran my very first Run Disney event with, so he was there with his friend Mike at the same time that I was there, so we got to hang out together.
Oh my gosh, your first Run Disney run buddy.
That's right, my run buddy.
Which is different than a buddy that has the runs, just in case anyone's curious.
Yeah, that's good to make that differentiation. Absolutely. Yeah, Matt and Mike are both wonderful people to hang out with in Disney. They both have that Disney joy that we as adults also have.
I love that. So a lot of Matts on this trip.
A lot of Matts. Basically, every Matt, Mike, and Miles. A lot of M's I was hanging out with. Indeed.
And you sent me a picture. You ran into our friend JJ from California.
That's right. Yes, I ran into JJ and his lovely husband, Andrew, and their 2 beautiful, beautiful children. We bumped into each other at the milk stand, of all places, in Galaxy's Edge. They are a treat, and they are now officially the only 2 that I have encountered on both coasts.
Ooh. You popped that cherry. Congratulations.
Congratulations to all. Congratulations to everybody.
Well, it sounds like you had a fantastic crew for a solo trip to Walt Disney World. You certainly had some great companions for your time there. But enough of that crap, Patrick. What did you buy?
Speaking of crap, I bought a lot of things, Adam. No, I was actually quite reserved in my purchases this time around. I did succumb to the Nuimo craze that's going around right now.
Yes, relatively new Nuimos. Is that what Nuimos?
That's right. I think that's how they're pronounced. Nuimo. I bought the Stitch and the Donald Duck, and they are as cute can be.
They are so cute. They are filling my Zoom screen at this very moment. And I got to say, Donald's adorable, but I love Stitch's Walt Disney World Spirit jersey.
Yeah, I did buy him a costume. I bought him the Black Spirit jersey, so we can match when we're in the parks again together.
See, now you made fun of my love of dolls, but suddenly here you are playing with full-on dolls in Zoom.
Listen, what's good for me is not good for you. It's only about me. No, they're actually relatively inexpensive. I think they're about $17 each. And unlike other plush, they stand up on their own and you can pose them. And their hands have little magnets in them, so they hold hands when they're next to each other.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, they're awesome. They make great photos as well.
They do. You sent me a couple and they are so, so cute. Do you feel like this is a new passion for you? Will there be many more added to your collection?
I have a feeling, unfortunately, I'm going to end up buying all of them at some point. Some of them are actually kind of hard to find right now. In fact, I believe Daisy Duck is sold out everywhere in the parks right now. You can't find a Daisy Duck to save your life.
That feels right. It feels like she would be the one to like fully be sold out.
Absolutely. And she doesn't come with, but you can buy her this really adorable sort of 80s street outfit that is a must-have. It's a must-have.
A must-have for Daisy and a must-have for me. Thank you.
Absolutely. I bought a pair of shoes while I was in Disney World, Adam.
Heels?
A sensible pump. I bought some sensible 3-inch heels. No, I don't know if you're familiar with the company, the shoe company Native.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They now make Disney native shoes. There's a Mickey and a Minnie, and they're both genderless, so you can buy either one that you want, or gender neutral, I should say. I bought the Mickey Mouse ones. I just like that color a little bit better. I don't know what it was. Yeah. They're so comfortable. They are one of the most comfortable pairs of shoes I have now.
Frequent podcast sponsor, not our podcast, although if they certainly want to be a sponsor of GDTD, just let us know.
We are ready to be sponsored.
That's right. Well, those sound like some very sensible purchases, Patrick. I'm proud of you. You didn't go hog wild, and yet you still have these great mementos of this trip.
I do indeed. I also, of course, it wouldn't be a trip without Patrick purchasing an extra large youth shirt.
Was there an extra large youth in it, or is it just the size?
There is right now. You're
not that young. Come on.
I haven't been youthful in years.
What or whom is featured on the shirt?
It's the Fab Five. It's the Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, Pluto, lime green Walt Disney World shirt. I'll show you just one second. Everyone, this is exciting podcasting right now. I'm going to show Adam my T-shirt.
Oh, you turned it into a belly shirt.
I sure did. You're welcome.
Daisy didn't sign off her rights for the shirt. She was like, no, I will not do it.
Exactly. And here's what I'll say. I don't know if this was intentional, but it brought me great joy, and I also purchased it. So a lot of people may know if you buy 2 youth shirts, they're actually only $15 each. So you can't not buy 2 of them. I mean, what are we, idiots here? I mean, it's just good math to buy 2 shirts.
I'm going to start dieting immediately for October.
But the shop that I went to that I purchased the shirts in, both the boys in quotes and the girls in quotes shirts were sort of together. So there was no real gender specific shirt, right? And so I bought this lime green Disney shirt and also a mermaid shirt that was the exact same cut for either gender, which well done Disney. That is another example of inclusive clothing, I would say.
That's the way it needs to be. 9 times out of 10, when I see a shirt I'm attracted to, it's typically a shirt that is designed for a woman or a woman's body specifically. And I'm always let down. Like, I just want those unisex shirts that anyone can own.
Absolutely. And this is, I can't wait to wear the shirt. I think it's going to be my pride shirt this year. It's just a glittery AF Little Mermaid shirt, and I can't wait to wear it.
Oh, that sounds right up my alley. I can't wait to see you in it. We will absolutely Instagram a picture of you in that shirt at Pride.
That's right. Just the shirt.
Just the shirt. Well, Patrick, before we wrap up this segment, I have a question for you that I don't know if you're really going to feel comfortable answering, but maybe you will. I mean, you've answered so many already.
All right. Let me just finish this bottle of wine and I'm ready.
So here's my question for you. It's completely subjective, obviously, but would you recommend someone travel now to Walt Disney World or to Disneyland now that that's opened, if or once they allow people outside of California to enter the park? Or would you recommend that they wait until things return to a bit more normal, again, whatever that means going forward?
Interesting question. I guess obviously I'll preface this with if you feel safe and if you are emotionally ready to travel, I would do it again right now. I can only speak for myself, and so maybe I'll answer it that way. I would go next week if I could, if it were in the cards for me to go. I think right now, if you're able to, is a great time to go because it's still low capacity. I don't know how I'm going to feel when we go for the 50th because there is a lot of talk right now that they are going to do everything they can to increase the capacity levels. And so I think we're going to see a lot bigger crowds than we're seeing right now. So yeah, I would say if you can go right now, go right now. I think this is the lowest capacity we're going to see for a very long time, which means you're going to get on every attraction you want to do. You're probably going to get dinner reservations for wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go. It's very freeing right now. If you're vaccinated, it's going to take a lot of stress off of you to be there right now. So I would say go. Here's one thing I will tell people about is you're not going to escape crowds right now. There are still going to be large groups of people in pockets all over Disney World, even in Disney World. I'll say specifically Disney Springs right now is a little bit of a nightmare for me. I full disclosure, basically had a panic attack while I was there because nobody is following any sort of social distancing rules while in Disney Springs. So you're probably not going to feel quote unquote safe while you're there. It's a little bit amateur hour there right now, I would say. So if you can avoid the Springs, if you have anxiety, I would do that. Avoid Disney Springs right now. But if you are comfortable, do whatever you want to do. For me, didn't work out so well. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, probably one too many Florida man going to Disney Springs because it's free to get in, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's open for the general population for sure, and there's a lot of alcohol happening in Disney Springs right now. And as you know, when people drink, their inhibitions get a little bit lax, and so no one's paying attention to safety in Disney Springs right now, which is unfortunate. I wish that they had better practices there because it is such a great place to be. But right now, for me, I would avoid it. That's
an excellent tip you just gave us. I think we tend to forget about Disney Springs not going there, but, it's not necessarily going to be under the same kind of restrictions, or it is, but people aren't going to be following those rules because it's a little bit more of a Wild West scenario when it comes to a Disney experience. So that's a great point you make. So right now, yeah, Disney Springs may not be for you if you're still having some anxiety over being around large groups of people.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say that just in general right now, if you yourself know that you have anxiety issues, really take that into consideration because it is going to be put to the test while you're in Disney World or anywhere really where there's a lot of people. Just remember yourself, take care of yourself. And that means emotionally as well as physically.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is be in a place that you absolutely love and not be able to enjoy that experience. So really check in with yourself and make sure that if you want to go now, and it sounds like now is a great time to go, if you want to go now, just be sure that you're going to be comfortable and be able to have a great time.
That's right. That's right. Take the time you need. Do it at your own pace. Don't push yourself. You can easily overexhaust yourself, even right now when there's 50% capacity. It's very easy to overdo it. We all know that, being in a Disney park. So, like I said, just take care of yourself, everybody.
Well, thank you, Patrick, for sharing the details of your what sounds like a really fantastic first visit back to Walt Disney World since the beginning of the pandemic.
Thank you so much. It was overall, the trip was great. And it's interesting that you say that. It did actually feel like a new first visit because it was a different experience than what I've ever experienced in a Disney park before. So it was fascinating. I did it for the science, Adam. I did it for science.
Science is back, everybody.
That's right.
Well, thank you for sharing your experiences with us. And if any of you out there have any questions for Patrick regarding an upcoming trip that you have, or just questions in general about his experience or the overall mood or feeling in the parks right now, feel free to reach out to us. You can do so by reaching out to us on social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast.
Let's see if I remember how to say this. You can also leave us a voice memo or an email at info@gazetothed.com.
Or, if you just have any questions in general, Patrick's happy to answer them. What does this boil on my body mean?
That's right. Absolutely. How many beers is too many beers?
The answer is what?
The answer is 72.
72. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 72. Yeah.
72 beers and 2 Gideon's cookies. I can't recommend it. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Patrick.
It's been so long since I've uttered this phrase, but do you know what time it is?
I do know what time it is. Do you know what time it is?
I don't. I don't know what time it is.
It has been a long time, yeah.
No, it's no one's favorite time, Quick D.
Yeah, we're doing it again. We're back. Patrick's back. Adam's back again.
Ooh, tell a friend.
Tell a friend. Yes, it is Quick D time. We've reached the end of this episode. And boy, has it been a great first episode back.
Such an emotional journey we've taken today.
Patrick just showed me the fan he bought in Walt Disney World. Yes, they're selling gay fans right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you Disney is now selling drag queen fans, and I am here for it. I purchased the Alice in Wonderland one that says "Spill It" on the fan. If this isn't gay merch, I don't know what is.
Yeah, we should clarify, not fans like as in drag queen fans that are rabid online Twitter trolls. We're talking about actual fans you can cool yourself with, and they look fabulous.
Should we do an audio check to see if we can pick up the sound of the fan unfurling?
Please unfurl it. I think it's called a throp.
I've used that for different sound effects. You know what I mean? Here we go. All right. For your listening enjoyment, everyone, Patrick thropping his fan? That sounds terrible. All right, here we go.
Thropping? Yeah, go for it. Oh, yeah.
Hopefully that picked up. If not, everyone is very confused right now.
I'm sure it did, and it was well executed, Patrick.
Thank you so much. Tweedles out there, I implore you to also buy a fan in Disney World, and we can start our own fan club. You know? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and Disney, please release a Pride fan. We need a Pride fan.
It is. All of these fans are very gay already, so I don't know if they need to gay it up even more, but if you can, plus the experience,
Next level gay fans. Yes, please.
For sure. Well, Adam, are you ready to get into some Quick D?
I am. It's already not so Quick D, but we'll do it.
It's long D today. It's long form D.
Ooh, okay.
Listen,
yeah.
You're welcome. But I believe we are doing Quick D Classic today. Is that correct, Adam?
That's correct, yes.
Well, tell our listeners what Quick D is if they've forgotten. It's been a while.
It's been a while. The classic D, the classic Quick D, that is when Patrick and I ask each other a question we have not been privy to prior to recording, and we answer it off the cuff.
Off the gosh darn cuff.
Yes. So, Patrick, I'm going to have you ask me your question first. Deal with it.
Well, that implies I have a question for you, which I do not. Here we go. All right, I've just thought of one. Are you ready, Adam?
Ready. Let's go.
Well, Adam, as you may or may not know, I experienced quite a few delightful pop-up appearances by Disney characters in the parks. It was one of my favorite things on the trip, and I thought to myself, Adam and I should sign up to do pop-up appearances while we're there for the 50th anniversary. Adam, talk to me about some unique pop-up experiences that we should do while we're in the Disney parks, for the fans, of course.
Of course, all of our fans, all of them.
6 people will enjoy this.
This is a great question, Patrick, because I believe Disney has already reached out to us to do some kind of special appearances. And one thing I would like to do is have them be pop-up appearances.
Yes, I just received my cease and desist letter preemptively.
So where should we go? What should we do? One thing I would like to do, you already mentioned this, is pop-up appearances at Cinderella's Royal Table.
Are we hiding underneath some of the tables?
You are absolutely correct, yes. I want it to be a true pop-up experience, and I want us to just frighten small children by just emerging from below their tables.
Perfect. And if there's a hot Disney dad, I wouldn't mind being at underneath the table level. You know what I'm saying?
I don't get it. I don't... What?
Okay, moving on quickly.
You want to give him a pop-up appearance.
Okay.
All right, so we want to spoil people's meals that they're paying good money for at Cinderella's Royal Table by doing pop-up appearances. I also think we should do pop-up appearances in the pre-show of Rise of the Resistance. So can you imagine if instead of the hologram of Rey, you just saw me walk up there?
And I poke my little head out the way that BB-8 does.
Oh my gosh, people do want to see that. I certainly want to see it. Yeah, that would be adorable.
Yes, of course.
And certainly wouldn't ruin anyone's ride experience, would it?
Enhancements.
Yeah. How about if we did a pop-up appearance where we were waltzing in the Haunted Mansion ballroom scene? Together, waltzing together.
Of course, absolutely. Pepper's Ghost, indeed. Pepper's Ghost.
With our Haunted Mansion gay fans, like just waltzing together.
Oh my gosh, that's going to happen for sure.
Kind of a bucket list dream scenario. Make it happen for us, Disney.
Yeah, make my dreams come true.
And I think maybe the pinnacle pop-up appearance we could do would be to, on the actual day, the 50th, October 1st, we're inside the Magic Kingdom, and there's an opening day pre-show, right?
Yep, of course.
And from the center of the court stage, you and I just come flying out like the choreographer from White Christmas does during... during the choreography number. If you know White Christmas, you know what I'm talking about. Just emerge just like that, dressed as Anastasia and Drizella.
Just launched 50 feet into the air.
Yes, totally disregarding our own safety and just launching into the air and hopefully landing in a hysterical pose.
What's actually going to happen is we're going to launch 50 feet in the air and all of our legs will immediately be broken. I love this idea.
Worth it, though, right? Worth it?
Absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. If there's one thing our Tweedles want to see, it's us with broken legs.
Yes. That is the dream. That is truly how they want to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World.
Yep. That's the keys to the kingdom right there.
Well, we've laid out several options for you, Disney. Reach out to us and let us know. I mean, we are available.
That's right. Keep your eyes peeled, everyone. If you're going to be there, we will be ruining your vacation.
All right, Patrick, here is my question for you. Patrick, I was listening to some other podcasts this week, and I know, first of all, how dare I?
Ugh, I'm disgusted by you.
I know I should only be listening to us on repeat. And I came across an advertisement for a new podcast.
Ooh.
And maybe you've heard this advertisement. And it's a new podcast hosted by Minnie Driver, and it's entitled Minnie Questions.
Okay. All right.
And I thought, man, that name is genius and just so stupid at the same time. It's so dumb. And it occurred to me, Patrick, we could have had a different name as a podcast. And so I'm putting it to you. Give me some alternative names for Gays Do the D. What could have been? Two gay guys hosting a podcast. I mean, it could have gone so wrong. What could have happened?
Could have gone wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I think immediately what comes to mind is the title, Is Anyone Actually Listening? I think
That's great. Yes. I mean, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Or This Is Only for Our Moms.
That seems like it should actually be a podcast title.
Uh-huh.
That will do it for this episode of Gays Do the D. Thanks for listening. To become a patron of the podcast, visit our website at gaysdothed.com/donate. For a donation of any amount, you can receive exclusive Gays Do the D content and help us continue to bring you the very best Disney news and discussion. Continue the conversation after this episode on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast, and submit your questions or show ideas to info@gaysdothed.com. Have a great week, everybody. See you real soon.